Okay, welcome everyone to our biweekly CI PM UX research planning meeting. Welcome Jason and Dove and Nadia. We got to meet last week, and so Dove, maybe at the end when the rest of us join, you can tell us a little bit about yourself. Now turn the recording off for that. So first agenda item, it's kind of going to be light this week. First agenda item, Vitika, do you want to walk through those?
Yeah, sure. So, lately I've realized that if we compare our research efforts to the issues that we are working on and how much we are delivering, it's kind of the ratio has shifted, and we are doing very less. We are spending very less time on researches. So, once we have the responsibilities divided between the teams, we should relook at what are the topics that we could kick off research on for the upcoming milestone. Because right now there's, from the top of my mind, I don't have any concrete idea about what we should be looking deeper into. So just wanted to bring it to everybody's notice that we should start thinking on these lines and maybe line up a couple of validation exercises or some other research that we need.
Hey, so on that vein, by the way, I do have talked about something similar in agenda item 2, but one thing I thought about is we've never done this, but a while back, Lori and I talked about, do we want to do research about, or even if it's just a survey of the features that we recently released that we haven't followed up with users on. Obviously, we followed up with the DAG visualization, but there's other features that we release that I don't think we've ever systematically done surveys to users after a month or two once something's released, and we can maybe look at that, you know.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because sometimes we had to, in the interest of narrowing it down to something really small for the first iteration, we release the something that we know is not complete, and then there's a bunch of different directions we could take it. And Lori and I had talked about, well, we won't really know what's the best next thing or what's the most wanted next thing would be unless we kind of get some feedback on that. So I could look with you on the CI interaction ones, Deepika, and we can maybe find one or two that we want to follow up. I don't know the best way. I think Lori and I had talked about maybe doing a survey instead of doing live interviews, but maybe some of them you may think deserves a live interview because the next iteration has things we want them to look at and get their reaction live.
In fact, this reminded me of something else. I was thinking, since we are working on this very new effort of providing a visualization for the YAML file, and we had a very good experience with the link that we provided with the MVC release of DAG. So should we do something similar for that as well?
Yeah, I think that would be an interesting one. Are there, is that one, are you talking about just the MVC that's going to release in 13.4? Just the...
I mean, at whichever stage you would want to put it there, maybe with the visual builder, if you want people to have a look at the broader concept and then give their inputs, that's also fine with me.
Gotcha. CI. I hadn't thought that, I didn't realize you meant that at the beginning, but that would make a lot of sense because we can get feedback on what we're releasing in 13.4 and then get some additional feedback on the behavior with when it becomes a builder, an editor. Yeah, that would be really good because there's a lot more work that's gonna even to see if it's intuitive to them that we're probably going to not build it out in the simple file editor, but go with the web IDE. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great idea as one of the next research projects. Jason, do you want to talk about yours?
Yeah, I added one there for Vitika. You shared us that link yesterday, I think it was, on the snippets catalog and template viewer. we might be able to start research on that now. For when we finish the visual builder, we can kind of have that ready to go and roll right into it. I was also just going to do a search for, there's issues out there that have like the problem validation label. I don't know how many or how last time they were looked at or anything, but we can.
Those would be a good place to start indeed, Jason. That was also what I wanted to ask about. Like if we have any problem validation issues for 13.6, they have to be a priority for the research, because that means that we don't have some, well, we are missing some insights or data.
I don't think so. Yeah, there's 13 open ones that are just all unscheduled. That might be worth looking at. I'll link to them here. And so there may be something interesting in there that we were thinking about researching at one point, but never got around to. I guess this is CI. I filtered by verify, but you could change that to be a filter for.
Okay, I did it by CI and I got 10. So I was wondering how you got 13, but okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, we'll see if there's anything that jumps out. So group.
I don't think we ever could, I think the research was done on the public pipeline page, but I might have to close it out.
There's not very much interesting here. I mean, maybe there is, but nothing that jumps out as being like really interesting. Solution validation. We have the feedback for the DAG in solution validation, so that needs to get wrapped up. Maybe you already had that there, Vika. Jenkins wrapper solution validation. I don't know. That's probably on hold. That was another research topic. How's that going? If I'm making it.
It kind of got lost, but so
Yeah.
I think we'll talk about it right now.
Is it on the agenda already? If it's already on the agenda somewhere else, we can.
It's not.
It's not. And I think it was, I think we had, was the last, maybe a couple of months ago, we had, Vitika, you can remind me if I'm saying that correct. We thought about maybe going back and doing, we made some assumptions because we had to deliver the MVC. And so we thought maybe we need to go back and do the problem validation on that. Because because we kind of feel like we do know the problem, but that was based on feedback from our internal team members, based on their discussion with prospects and customers, and thought maybe we should just, I don't think we ever did a formal problem validation.
Yeah, we didn't, but we were going, so we didn't, because we just had direction from the leadership team to just go build it. But then we built it and it seemed like nobody wanted it. So the research that I thought we were doing was to go back and see if actually anybody wanted anything at all. Because, which isn't necessarily to do, like go back and redo problem validation. It's just see if this was just like kind of like a misunderstanding in the first place, because we never did problem validation. We just sort of like, no, we as the leadership team know that this is important, so just go do it.
Yeah, I think the next step was for me to run with this. Oh, go ahead, Laurie, sorry.
Well, it's okay. Yeah, so it is kind of like problem validation, because they assumed that that was going to solve the problem. So now we have to figure out what is actually the problem that needs to be solved and find out a little bit more. We were hoping to talk to people who were using it or should have used it, but I know Vithika and Tao were trying to find them, and I was too, and we couldn't find anybody to talk to. So that's what part of the problem with this particular effort as well.
Yeah, everybody I ever talked to when I was building it was like, oh, I don't really want that. I just want good documentation that tells me.
Right, exactly. So, that's a good hypothesis to go with. Documentation just should be enough. We need to figure out what's missing in there that we could fix. But yeah, so that definitely does need to be touched.
Okay. Tao, did we ever go back to the leadership team and say that we can't find anybody who actually wants this thing we built?
We've said that before, where I wasn't getting any feedback on participating in the public issue for feedback on the wrapper, but I haven't gone back and since that time, that update, and said it again. Yeah,
we probably need to, if we've, so it's been like a month, I think, or two, even since we started the second round of research for the Jenkins wrapper. And if there's still nothing, then Yeah, just get an update to Kenny when he's back.
Okay.
And let him know that, yeah, we did 2 more months of research and didn't figure anything out, and we can share the research that we did over the last 2 months again.
Okay.
And which is that we couldn't find anybody who was interested. And yeah, then he can go update and just say like, hey, this doesn't seem like what we wanted. People do still want to migrate from Jenkins to GitLab, so we have to figure that out. But like, it's not this thing that we built. Nobody wanted that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Because otherwise, they think that, you know, they think we built something that solved the problem.
Okay.
Which isn't the case.
Yep. I'll do that.
Cool. Sorry for the diversion there.
No worries. I'll, oh, okay. Never mind. Someone threw your notes at the bottom there on number 6. Okay. Nadia, I think you've already gone for, do we feel like we need anything for 13.6? I haven't gotten that far, Nadia, 13.6, but I'll look at it. I'm trying to finish my 13.5 issues for 13.5 this week. Although that may lead into what I want to ask about for number 2, but do we want to go to Vitika's point 1b first? Oh, was that it? Or is there more? You're muted, Vitika.
Sorry, which was that point? So point B was just about tracking the progress, but I think we just talked about everything that's in progress. So for DAG, I have interviewed about 8 people, just that these 2 weeks I'm too busy taking care of the milestone work. I couldn't get myself to do the analysis. I would do that. And we just discussed about what we would do for the Jenkins problem validation. Yeah, I think that should be it.
Okay. All right. So agenda item 2, one of the things that PMs are being asked to focus on is prioritize issue for usability improvements. And I went out there for my feature labels and I searched on the UX label. And then later I also searched on the UI polish and the UX det. And I got back so many issues that I'm not quite sure where I want to focus this. And I'm going to try to figure out a few topics. And I just wanted to throw it out there for all of us to think about. And I know that here we don't have to decide today, but I think it would help to get feedback from all of you, how we want to refine the scope of what we want to focus on for usability research, because CI as a topic is so broad. I thought maybe looking at purely the things that are very visual that the user interacts with. So for example, looking at things we can improve in the pipeline graph topic, what's displayed on the pipeline page, as opposed to ruling out my other topic areas like API interactions, CI processing, which is behind the scenes and not visible to the user. I mean, and then I thought, well, that's kind of obvious, but there are things in CI processing that affects what the user sees. So the CI processing issues include things that determine statuses and things like that they see. So anyways, what I'll do is async. I'll come up with a couple topics and throw it out there, and we can decide what might be 1 or 2 we want to pursue, and I create a research issue for it.
What I would recommend is sorting each of your topic areas by popularity, and then looking at which ones seem like they're about improving the user experience. I don't think there'll be any label search that will reliably find them for you.
Okay.
What about telemetry? Are we collecting any telemetry for those features?
I don't think so.
I asked this question a couple of days back when Nadia pointed out that about the misplaced play icon in our pipeline graph. So yeah, I mean, it would help us a lot if we can get some telemetry data, but at this point, I think there's something underway. I'm in some effort. Juan shared that with me. I can post it here. I can look for that. But there's nothing at the point which is working.
Hey, Dove, the word telemetry, it kind of means a couple different things to me. What do you mean when you say, are you meaning clicks on buttons, for example, or?
Yeah, I mean customer usage, like real usage.
Okay.
We know how many times different pages are loaded and things like that. And it's fairly obvious even within CI, which pages are the ones that people use the most. So if it's more like I don't think it's that we don't know what people are using in CI. We know the pages and workflows that are the most common ones, but yeah, figuring out what the best UX improvement is to make. I don't think counts of button clicks and things like that will help us, but popular issues tend to, especially for like really egregious UX problems, tend to get a lot of upvotes. So they may bubble to the top of each of the topic areas. That's where I would recommend starting.
It sounds like a good place to start. And also, Jason, you mentioned that we know the most popular user flows or the most popular features. Maybe we could run an evaluation on that, like defining the main jobs to be done. That's pretty similar to the main user flows, as you're saying. We could run the evaluation of experience, like using the UX scorecards there. Or if you have already some inputs in the issues, like what you, Jason, said, we have a lot of customer attention to a certain feature. We may want to look into those areas.
Yeah, and we also use it ourselves, like go make a merge request to www.gitlab.com and then go look around your pipeline and see what's annoying to you.
Yeah, I can imagine that we would have a couple of those items because CI is pretty wide and so popular. Maybe we would want to each bring up a couple of things or a thing and then run a voting exercise or something like that to define the one to have a look at. To build the backlog of those priorities that we would want to improve for the user experience part.
Though when I look at the 13.5 planning, basically all 60 items that are in there are related to improving the user experience, in my opinion. So we're not really adding new features, we're fixing bugs and improving existing features. So I think we're already doing a lot of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing that kind of worries me looking at the amount of issues we often talk about, like also looking at the amount of issues that VTK is currently busy on, I think we would need to be a bit better in the prioritization as well to make sure that we do a good job at defining the priorities, like which items we need to look at and focusing a bit better to make sure that we are not.
There's like about 70 issues that have group CI with greater than 40 upvotes. So,
But not all of those are UX necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not any one issue that I want to focus on. It's just trying to figure out what is the theme. Let's say 10 of them is about the interaction with the pipeline graph. Then that would be, pipeline graph pain point research is what it would be. I'll look at that. Thanks for it was so obvious, but thanks just to help me focus, just to go off of popularity. Okay. Is there anything else anyone added that they want to voice over?
I just mentioned that I'm aware that our front-end team is kind of reworking on the whole pipeline visualization. They're in some way, I would say they're refactoring it. So this would be a really good time to bring up the usability issues or small fixes on the visualization part.
What do you mean by reworking the pipeline graph?
For example, all the big changes that we are doing, they were not able to accommodate those changes on the previous components which were existing. So the components are being reworked on.
Oh, the work that they're doing to move it to GraphQL? No.
Not exactly.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I'll take a look. Okay.
I also wanted to just ask if any of you are aware of any research issues or like research insight epics that are related to CI authoring that Dove and I could have a look at to just learn more about the user and the products, you know, just consume whatever insights that we have, please just let me know. You can ping me on Slack or link it here if you have any pointers.
I'll post the link here. We usually have all the links in our CI UX epic itself, the research exercises which are ongoing. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, but I'm also interested in finished research efforts. So anything that you are aware of that you think could be useful, like even if it goes all the way back, but you think it's just good insights for us to check out, just let me know.
I'll have to check for that.
Thanks.
Hey, Nadia, I don't recall ones that are specific to the CI authoring or other feature areas under there, but for past research that's been completed, we can reach out to Dimitri to see if he recalls any too. And then we could just maybe just do in the UX research project. I'm not sure, but we can go search. I will look right now, search on the CI group CI label in case Dimitri applied that label and find them that way.
You can also look in the README file in the UXR Insights project. The README file should list all of the topics that were researched. So it could very well be something that Sarah did or Catherine did before.
Yeah, cool. Okay, yeah, I'll check it out. I forgot about that file that has all of them listed.
That was listed just for everything just before we started using Dovetail, Lori, right?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. I don't think anything's happened related to CI authoring after that, since we started using Dovetail, Nadia. So whatever you might find there. Does anyone can, if I forget that README file is out there, if anyone can add the link to that in the agenda when they get a chance, I'd like to look at that too.
I can do that.
Thank you. Okay, number 4, Nadia S. on the agenda.
But that's the one we just did.
Oh. Okay.
Number 5 was read-only. Number 6, how's the CI use case research going? We had the kickoff recently. What's next?
Is that the adoption journey one?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's what I'm doing is the adoption journey. Like, oh, that's a different word. It's going. I had some time off and Andre kept pushing forward for me while I was gone. I just started the screener for both the non-engineering technical user and the non-web app developer. So I think I pinged Jason, both you and Tao in that issue. So if you guys get a moment, please look at those screeners because I feel like you guys would be able to pick up on more opportunity. Like maybe some questions I should be asking or some answers I don't have there for people to choose from. So as soon as we get that, I'll start working with Emily to get people recruited. So the goal for that is that persona piece of the project, to understand more about these two types of people who, from everybody we talked to, stakeholders all said we don't really do a good job understanding what their needs are. So we want to understand what their needs are. So that's my big thing that I'm pushing on. And Andre is working to identify the data and the data that we can pull, the data that we need. And I know, Jason, he pinged you on a couple of things and you guys have talked about it. And he's also taking point on what we're terming the literature review, which is also looking at past research, as well as Forrester articles and other things out there to understand what CI adoption looks like everywhere else and how we might be able to apply those definitions to how we define it, because everybody had a different definition when we talked to them, different start point, different end point, different success metrics. So he's going to take point on that and I'm going to assist him with that. And then I always forget this of the other piece. So we're working on it. It's getting worked on.
Cool. When will the next milestone be?
As soon as we have something to share. So hopefully I can get my people scheduled for the persona research, and then I can do that and have something to share. But I'm not sure how hard it will be to find the non-engineering people, because we're talking scientists and researchers and product managers and project people. So we'll see, because there'll have to be somebody who's, I think, maybe not interested in CI, but like they could use it if they knew what it was. So those people might be harder to find. I think the non-web app people won't be that hard to find. We just need to get them. So we'll see. And then Andre and I talked yesterday about the data piece of it. So he's going to work on outlining his approach. Like these are the data points we're going to go and find, see if we can get from our data. And so it's moving. I just can't tell you for sure a date yet, but I'm sure we'll have something this month. I'm sure of it.
Cool. Thank you.
That's, hey, Laurie, I'm looking at the research plan that's linked to the research issue, or linked from the research issue. It was, I'm not sure, maybe Andre was one who put this in. It was interesting that one of the things, the questions for the data analysis section is analyzing why potential users are not adopting CI because they have a hard time migrating from other tools. And so it's broader than just Jenkins. You're going to look at Jenkins, Travis, CI, Circle CI and stuff, but it would be interesting to find that. And one of the notes there was what number of projects, I guess, in GitLab.com uses other tools for CI. I might be able to help with that. I was trying to do that analysis of the data that we have in order to get those numbers. It's not perfect data, but circle back with me on that, because I'm trying to figure that one out too. Getting data for a number of projects on GitLab CI, GitLab.com that uses other CI tools. Yep.
Oh, cool. Yeah, please ping him in the issue, Tal, because I know he's really keen on talking about that. So that would be perfect.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to instrument that, and that might help him with his that part of the research. Okay. I think we're at the end of our agenda. Was there anything else folks wanted to talk about? Oh, Vitika, did you want to verbalize your note?
Just a link that I added for my, it's around the conversation that I had with Bill.com about the same Jenkins solution that we provided. So there could be some insights that could be found from here as well, like why they did not go for that solution.
So Bill.com, for folks who don't know, Bill.com and it might have been Verizon were the two existing customers that our technical account manager found that were willing to participate in testing out the Jenkins wrapper. And I actually don't recall that the Verizon contact did any testing. I think Bill.com was the only one right after we delivered the wrapper that had someone who actively used it and tried it.
So I am in touch with Sophie. I think she's the TAM.
Yes, she is.
Yeah,
Sophie P.
Yeah. She mentioned, okay, I need to check my, but there was an issue I remember where people had shared their experience with the tool. So I'll find that and update it.
Yeah. I think we're over time and we're at the end of our agenda. Thanks everyone. I'll upload this to Unfiltered.